What's your favorite question to ask someone to get to know them better? And related, do you look at the TP after you wipe? I didn't realize until my BF had a long convo about this with his friends, but apparently there are some people who don't check. And not only that, they thought he was weird for checking. What insanity is this? How do you know when you're done wiping? In the same vein kinda, every single night, I lay in bed with my 8-year-old son while his 12-year-old sister is in the top bunk and we play Rose and Thorn / Pow and Wow where we tell each other the high point and low point of our days. It's dark and we can't see each other and it has really led to a much deeper understanding of who my kids are, what actually matters to them, what hurts them, what brings them joy. Even through COVID when most days they didn't leave the house we would faithfully play it every single night. It also gives me the opportunity to apologize for any weak parenting I may fall into. I can always say the pow of my day was how I handled it when X happened. I realized that the way I yelled at you wasn't the way I should have handled that and you deserved a more thoughtful reaction from me, etc. They really make themselves vulnerable at that time and I've learned so much about their schoolyard crushes, what hurts their feelings, what makes them feel proud. A lot of times it surprises me and the things I would expect to be a big deal to them don't turn out to be significant and things I never would have realized were important to them are emphasized. It's the best thing I've ever done to get to know them as little autonomous humans and I hope they'll humor me and keep playing it for a long time to come. Everything I know is useless facts. Such as, when you're in REM sleep, you can't sneeze. And dogs like squeaky toys because the squeaks mimic the noises their prey makes as they attack it. And apparently it isn't common knowledge that the weight of a human head / skull is not evenly distributed, so you have to either grip a severed head by the hair or pick it up with both hands or else it'll, roll out of your hand. I thought that was just obvious from the shape, but more people are surprised by that fact than I ever expect. Also, I'd like to say that Vincent Nigel Murray was my hero. I'm stealing this now. But used to work at an Auntie Anne's and on a hot summer day we has a massive line. And this lady I saw in line for almost 45 minutes with her kids just trying to make them happy. By the time she gets to me it's been an hour and she orders 3 original pretzels, 2 cheese cups and a 2 small frozen lemonade. Goes to pay, gives me a $100 bill. Well, our GM a month early told us not to accept anything over a $50 bill. So I know what I have to say will suck. Told her sorry I can't accept that with broken English, said no because since she was a tourist to the country all she has was 100 bills. And I knew she had to find somewhere to break that 100. So I told her wait 1 second and pulled out my wallet and paid it for her. She tried to tell me keep the 100. Told her no. Her husband 20 minutes later came by, said thank you and offered me 200. I said no, probably stupid, but I was always raised that if I can help someone I should without hesitation and without expecting a reward in return. I tell this story at every job interview. It's called Altitude and it has 3 levels of service. Level 1, the tables are on the floor and we only serve appetizers and drinks. Level 2, the tables and chairs are hung with tension wire from the ceiling 12 feet off the ground, the servers wear stilts and we serve a moderately priced, fairly portioned selection of farm-to-table whatnot. Level 3 is hung up even higher, maybe 30 feet, the servers are suspended from the ceiling in a harness and move around via rope and pulley systems. We serve what we call the elevated menu, which is full on fine dining fuckery and is 3 times the price of the second level. If everything goes well in 5 years we launch level 4, which is a reservation-only single table in a glass-bottomed Chinook dual-rotor helicopter with a 3-man kitchen staff and an accredited sommelier. The press, or hot off the press. Basically a sandwich shop with paninis wrapped in faux newspaper, hot soup, salads, etc., all set in an Art Deco cafe style. Servers would wear old-time hats with button-up shirts and rolled sleeves, a pencil tucked behind an ear, black pinstripe pants. Newspaper memorabilia on the tables, green lampshades, blocky letter type paper menus, overstuffed brown leather booths and chairs. Free cups of coffee. The signature dish would be a 3-cheese grilled cheese and tomato soup combo. Open late. After 8 it just becomes a late night hang. The signature cocktail would come in a coffee mug or flask. My husband and I have made answering this one into a game. Our restaurant is called Impermanence, and it's the most horrifically wasteful restaurant in the universe. You never know where impermanence is going to pop up because they build it and destroy it for every seating. The meals are made from the last individuals of critically endangered species. At the end of the meal, the guests break all the plates and kill one another. Each reservation costs a ton of money, but you have to barter with religious antiquities and unique fossils which the owners of Impermanence pulverize into dust after the meal. They do bake rare fossil dust into the bread, but not this same fossil dust because that would be reusing something, and this is impermanence. It goes on. My 29-year-old special needs daughter has a list she likes to use. What is your favorite reptile? What is your favorite fighter jet? What is your favorite bird of prey? What is your favorite dinosaur? What is your favorite venomous snake? The thing is though, she doesn't actually care about your answers, she just wants you to ask her her favorites so she can trap you in a one-sided conversation for the rest of your natural life. People fall for it every time. Oh, and in case you are wondering, the correct answers are crocodile, F-14 tomcat, wedge-tailed eagle, Spinosaurus, black mamba. Giving her the correct answers won't get you out of the conversation, but it will save you the lecture on how wrong you are. I had an employee who was an oddball of the first order, just coasting along enjoying what I can only describe as a superlatively charmed existence. For instance, he was in his mid-20s, living in NYC, and had somehow avoided ever paying a nickel in rent. Like not once in his life. I personally witnessed him not only refuse to pay his landlord for 6 months, but also walk away with $3,000 compensation when the matter went to court. From there he ended up in a free pad provided by a real estate broker who hired him on the spot while he was looking for an apartment. Seriously. I've never seen anyone so consistently fall ass first into a basket of rose petals as this dude. But that's about the time I lost contact with him because he went full-time into real estate brokerage. Which was just as well because he wasn't really a very good employee. He wasn't dangerously incompetent or anything, just kind of slow and lacking any sense of hustle. I kept him on just because he was so entertaining and had this ability to keep everyone else's morale up. We called him the jam burner because he would fixate on certain bands, and play these really badass tunes, but play them so frequently that everyone would be completely burned out by the time his focus shifted. Anyway, he would go around asking these asinine questions of everyone, as though he was conducting a Heather's poll. What's your favorite animal? What's your second favorite animal? What's your favorite body of water? How would you describe it? Would you rather have a yacht or a sport car? Would you rather have an asshole on your elbow, or an elbow on your asshole? Anyway, he would go around asking these asinine questions of everyone, as though he was conducting a Heather's poll. What's your favorite animal? What's your second favorite animal? What's your favorite body of water? How would you describe it? Would you rather have a yacht or a sport car? Would you rather have an asshole on your elbow, or an elbow on your asshole? He had graduated college with a psychology degree, so I was aware that he was just probing us all, but I like to think I actually learned a lot about myself from his inquiries. I often think about him warmly. I hope you're doing well, Will, you mystifying, jam-burning leech. Man, I can never give an answer to what kind of music I'm into. It's stupid, but I got ripped on constantly for my taste in music as a kid, just because I didn't look like the kind of person who liked that kind of music. I got sick of being judged for it or being asked to prove myself or some shit, so I try to dodge the question at all cost. I mean, I'm 25, just started a new job recently. Someone asked that question and it made me immediately shut down. I'll answer pretty much any other question, but conversations about music make me sweat. Not a question, but more of an icebreaker game. It's called Make It or Break It. So basically, picture your perfect match. This person is personally perfect for you in every way possible. Like you would marry them on the spot. So they're perfect for you in every way except I name one thing about them that makes them not perfect for you, and you have to say whether that would be a deal breaker. Does it make it or break it? So here's a few examples. Make it or break it, they're perfect for you in every way except they always wear the color green. They will never not wear the color green. Different shades of green are fine, but every single piece of clothing they will ever wear for the rest of their lives will be at least 95% green. Even at like funerals. Make it or break it, they only eat pizza ever. Make it or break it, they will never drink. Make it or break it, for one day once a month, every month on the exact same day, they leave town for the whole day. But they never tell you where they're going or what they're doing, and they never will. If you ask them about it, they say you just have to trust me. If you try to sneak and find out what they do every month, bam, relationship over, you're dead to them. Make it or break it, whatever they eat, they drown the whole thing in ketchup, and they always will. Even ice cream. They carry around a little travel ketchup bottle just in case they eat at a place without ketchup. They'll never change. Make it or break it, they hate animals. NSFW, make it or break it, they've sucked 500 dicks. Make it or break it, they want an open relationship. Make it or break it, whatever thing you're most passionate about, no matter how hard you practice at it, they will always naturally be better than you, bonus, and they don't really even care about the thing they're good at, it's just kinda meh to them. These are examples I've come up with collectively over time while playing with people. They can be serious or goofy scenarios and you can play with anyone. It's a super fun game that you can pull out anytime it starts to get awkward, and eventually you and the person are going back and forth coming up with new make it or break it scenarios. A nice bonus is that if you're flirting with someone, you can gauge what they're looking for in a relationship and sort of test your chemistry/compatibility. Okay, stick with me here. A friend of mine texted me, hey, you know that porno where they eat the Fruit Loops out of the girl's asshole? I think they put the milk in first, and I feel I am and justified in thinking this. To that I responded, first of all, I don't know that porno, and what the fuck? Second, why do you feel justified in thinking they put the milk in first? His heroic response, because man, you can't pour a bunch of dry Fruit Loops in someone's asshole. That would definitely cause some kind of cuts. Okay, when you're right, you're right. The awful display of 13th to 17th century weapons, armor, daily life, and behavior of people in movies. I haven't seen one that didn't include at least one of the following. Slicing right through armor. Doing trick shots with a high poundage bow like they got zero draw weight. Peasants being covered in literal shit and only washing themselves twice a year. Main characters going into battle without a helmet. Terribly fitted plate armor or male coifs. Lack of polearms/use of swords as main weapons. It's a shame that most of these stereotypes are still believed by quite a few people. It's fine in a fictional setting, but in movies based around historical events they should at least try to inform us/stop misleading us. I've been on a mission recently to ask anyone I know if they have an internal monologue. This concept of the difference in the fundamental way people think fascinates me. I feel like the research into is greatly lacking, but it's such a fundamental way we perceive and react with reality. How we process medication and deal with mental illnesses. The entire concept that we think so differently baffles me. I have an internal monologue and my roommate doesn't. I've been asking them questions constantly. It's fascinating hearing their response in regards to this topic. Sorry if this rambles, but here we go. I have social inside if I'm hanging around with one or two people that I know I'm okay but get me in a social situation that I am stuck in and it causes great anxiety, so in order to combat that I have come up with a plan, from which then soothes the anxiety. What's one thing about you that most people don't know? Now I have given the control of the conversation to the other participant. It is up to them to decide what they want this person to know about them. It seems simple, but often people have a hard time coming up with an answer. I'll help with in a room this size. I'll bet they don't know your middle name. Then they pass it back with their answer and we can explore that conversational path. Then we reverse and I get to choose what piece of myself I'd like to share. For those who undoubtedly will ask, the best answer I've ever received was a woman at a wedding. I like to talk about poop. She was a dietitian. TLDR, what's one thing about you that most people don't know? What would you do? Then follow up with some kind of situation or scenario. Popular choices I like to lead with include winning the lottery, fighting an army of 6-year-olds, finding something valuable. If you want to know something specific about their line of thinking about certain subjects, just ask about something related to what you're curious about. General knowledge should be left to vague situations, where they have the most freedom to think about their choices. Winning the lottery is such a cheap way to understand someone, and it's incredibly invasive to their psyche that most people won't even realize how much information they give away. 1. Pay attention to their body language. Pauses or shifty eyes, changes in vocal tones or weight distribution. Anything that induces changes in body language can tell you a lot about them. Moving around can indicate that they are uncomfortable, or that they are excited. If they don't answer right away and start looking around, or at the very least look away from you, could indicate they don't normally think about this and you caught them off guard. And for learning about them, this is good. They would be less likely to intentionally lie or tell a false truth. 2. Pay attention to their answer. What is their priority? Do they buy a house? Party? Quit their job? What kind of house do they buy? How big and lavish is it? What are some special things they say they might buy? The order of which they buy things can tell you a lot about their ideas of priority. Homes are good indicators that the person thinks at least a little about the long term, since a home is a big investment and usually a one-off thing. If they look to buy big, expensive homes or cars, you can rest assured that they do not concern themselves with long-term costs, or how they will maintain this new lifestyle. Since it's all hypothetical to begin with, don't try to justify their answers, because it's possible that their ideal self would do this, but if it actually happened, they might do things differently or not at all. Overall, it's a fun what-if question. And what-if questions are excellent at being able to open people up to discuss things that they otherwise might not. And the more they talk about these scenarios, the more information they give away without even realizing it. Not a single question, but a group of questions. There was this research study done in whether or not they could make any two people fall in love based on eye contact and intimate questions. So they took a bunch of people and paired them off and had them ask each other 36 questions that got more and more intimate. At the end of the study, a bunch of people started dating and some even got married. The New York Times wrote a big article about it and have all the questions listed. I love pulling out those questions over drinks or dinner with someone I'm trying to get to know deeper. It really shows you a different side to someone. For the one question, what are you most anxious about? I feel when people answer honestly, it sometimes offers a peek through the protective veil that they put up. It's weird because I find that people often seem to be the opposite of their anxieties. Like one friend is anxious about her body, yet she's super open with her body. Another friend needs a group/community to feel okay, yet he often strides off alone seemingly confidently. I'm anxious about everything, yet people think I'm a chill, relaxed person. I'm also really into blacksmithing and do forge metal, so that's frighteningly plausible for me. It would be really time consuming though, so you'd want to make sure your neighbors or whoever was around couldn't see and recognize you. I'd probably notice if my usually quiet neighbor suddenly had a glowing smelter in their backyard, tongue sticking out. I live around 3 hours away from pine plantations that extend for hundreds of acres with pre-dug holes for new trees. They're about a person's width and 4 feet deep, so it wouldn't hurt me to deepen the hole so that from the air there's no visibly turned over dirt in the typical grave shape. Bonus if I can dig deep enough to also put a dead animal a bit higher than the person so that if there is a tip that someone was digging out there, it just looks like someone taking the opportunity to bury a pet or something in the existing holes.